Hey guys, it's Axel Thesleff here. Today I'm gonna show you the production process of my song 2 Down. I'm gonna show you the early versions of the track, how I came up with the different parts and ideas for the song, and I'm gonna show you the latest version of the track and show you what's inside the project. So right here I have the first version of the track open. It's just kind of like the first sketch and kind of like a playground where I try out different ideas, see what works, what doesn't, and then try to make something out of it. So right here I started with the vocal, and I used this sample that sounds like this.
If I'm too high to look down.
So what I did with this is chop it up to little sections based on the syllables in the vocal, and Ableton lets you do it with the convert to MIDI function, and or slice to MIDI actually, and the result from that is like a chopped up version of it. So that means that I can play the different syllables with the keyboard.
Maybe down, so white flat, white no means so means.
So I rearranged the vocal so it sounds like this.
I'm too high, I'm too down, I'm too down. Peace
That's like the initial composition or the initial structure of the vocal in the song, and after that I put it inside Melodyne that lets you change the different pitches of the individual notes. So I think I ended up pitching it up an octave and then changing the notes and putting a bunch of different effects on it, and the final result from that was this. So then I just started putting more layers and chords and different sounds in there. So I had this concept in my mind where I thought that, I could use individual notes that play separately, like individual patterns, and they form together a bigger structure. So let me show you what I mean. I started with this string sound from a company called UVI. They have this plugin called World Suite that has a bunch of world instruments in it. So this is Tsoras. I don't know how you should pronounce this, but I think it sounds cool. And I ended up doing this kind of a thing with it. And I layered a different sound with it, and this is a santoor, which is an Indian instrument, and I did this kind of thing with it. So together they sound like this. And together with the vocals, it sounds like this. And I wanted to have a little fill at the end of the progression, so I added a third sound, which is again from the World Suite, and this is a sarod, which is also an Indian string instrument. And I did a thing with it that sounds like this. Just kind of adding a little bit of flavor at the end of the progression. So together all of these sounds sound like this. So at this point, it was time to start figuring out what kind of chords would actually be like the foundation of the track. So I pulled up yet another World Suite instrument. This time it's I think this is some sort of a Scandinavian instrument, or it has a picture of Europe, so I think they call it Occidental. I'm not really sure about what that means, but it's basically like a piano sound. And I started composing the chord progression for the song. So I ended up with chords like this. I didn't actually end up using these chords in the final version, but this was just like a sound that I could come up with the chord progression with, and I usually do that so I have a clear picture of the harmonic structure of the track, so I can actually, you know, start arranging the song, adding additional sounds and stuff. So I know what the chord should be at any specific moment. So it makes it a lot easier to navigate through the song and figure out what kind of melodies and patterns fit in each part. So yeah, this was like the first initial session I did, and after this I started adding more and more stuff to it. So let me show you the next version. So here you can see it has already more stuff in it. And I think the biggest addition was this this sound. And I ended up switching it up, making it more simple to the final version, because when you hear it alone, it sounds pretty cool. But when you put all the different instruments in it, it has maybe like too much variation in it, so it becomes like unclear what the whole like emotion is in there. So I ended up making it a more simple and give room for other parts. But that was like a main sound that I came up with in this third part. But other than that, it's basically pretty much the same. And except this bass that I started sketching out. So together with everything. So that bass line kind of solidifies the whole variety of ideas I have in there and makes it more a coherent package. Let's check out the next version. I usually save, every time I save under a different name, so I can afterwards come back to all the different versions and see what the production process was like. So this is the 5th version. So here you can hear the simplified version of this melody, which is, by the way, oh yeah, this is the tabletop piano or table piano that I initially sketched out the chords with, but I didn't end up using the chords, but I made a different pattern with it that ended up being this kind of arpeggiated melodic riff. And I think I sketched out the kind of initial idea for the groove or the rhythm section. It's super basic, but this just gave me a feeling of where the song is heading. Let's check out the 6th version. Okay, so here is a major new addition to the song, which is this piano or hybrid kind of a piano sound. And this was made with this Piano Tech 6 plugin, and it's a physical modeling based piano plugin that doesn't use samples but actually uses algorithms that generate a sound that sounds like piano. So the benefit with that is I can change all the parameters of the piano, like the length of the piano and all the different harmonics, everything. And there's this parameter called the blooming energy, which when I turn it all the way to the right, it gives the whole piano sound this really soft vibe. So I can show you if I put this parameter all the way to the left, it sounds like a piano. But when I drag it to the right, magic happens. So let me show you real quick how I came up with this piano. So basically I took the chords from earlier that I came up with and I broke it down into arpeggios. And the voicing I have is is pretty interesting, I think. It's like a power chord on the left hand and a power chord on the right hand. But the power chord on the right hand starts from the major third of the chord on the of the left hand. So when I play them together, it's basically a major seventh chord, but with a really wide voicing, which I think sounds really nice. So then I just broke it up into an arpeggio like this. And then I just switched this whole package, like, so that I have a different power chord here and a different power chord here. So together they sound like this. And then after that I have again two power chords, but this time they are kind of interwoven. And then it ends up here. So all in all it sounds like this. Something like that. Anyways, so together with all of the sounds, right now the version 6 sounds like this. And at this point I started slowly sketching out the structure of the song. So right here I planned like a breakdown / build up situation with the piano sound. Right now I think it's completely empty. It just has the piano sound in here, but I think the drop has the drums sketched out a little bit. So it sounds like this. So yeah, so the song is slowly getting its form. Let's check out version 8. Okay, so here I think the major addition was the sketch of the flute melody that slowly starts building up during the drop. And in this version it sounds like this. If you're wondering what this sound is, I can show you. It's from a sample from the Deepest India sample pack. That's one of my all-time favorites. And if I drag this guy out, this is the sample. So I basically just took the first note and made it repeat, and then went inside, changed the transients, changed the pitch, changed the automation of the pitch. So for example here, this bend that comes in here, and here there's like a 5 semitone bend happening that creates this sliding effect, and then again upwards. And that was basically how I came up with this lead melody for the song. So after this, I think I just started adding the bass, more of the drums, making fine adjustments to different parts, trying to make the whole thing work basically. And I think now it's the time to show you the latest version. Alright, so here is the final mix, or the final pre-master of the whole song. So there's quite a lot of stuff in here. I really love this sound. I created this kind of like a guitar feedback thing, where kind of like in a rock band, where just before the chord happens, you get this like feedback from the amplifier. So I kind of simulated that sound, and it's kind of like a subliminal sound in the background. It sounds like this. So in context, it sounds like this. So right here is a major sound. I call it the glitch flute sound. It sounds like this. So I can show you real quick how I made this. I used the World Suite yet again. I really used it quite a lot in this project. Right here. And the flute is actually an aboriginal flute from Australia. So there's this patch called Aboriginal Flute Phrases. It basically has different small snippets of the flute layered into the keyboard. So when you press one keyboard, it plays a phrase. When you press another key, it plays another phrase. Let me show you what I mean. So I basically created some kind of a sequence with this, and then I bounced it into audio, and then started editing and glitching the audio and making pitch changes, so the end result sounds like this flute that's glitching. Let's check out this backbeat reggae chord thing in the second part of both drops. This main synth, like a super saw kind of synth, I made with one instance of Diva, which is analog modeling synth, and the other layer is created with Serum that emphasizes kind of like the whole sound. So just the Diva sounds like this. But what really makes the synth work is this Serum layer. So yeah, basically all the rest is little details, little accents that make the whole sound detailed and more complex. So for example, you know, a certain type of clap might come in, for example here. So the song never feels like a static thing, but there are all these different little details, little layers that come in at different parts to give it more like an organic feel. Alright, then let's check out the modulation, or the cool down part that I call it here in my notes. I ended up changing the chord progression for the last section of the track, so there's like this big rising sensation that happens towards the end of the song, and then it drops into a new chord, kind of like a modulation that's a different chord from the other progression. And I also added this string sound that comes with the modulation. So if we listen to that with the vocals, it sounds like this. And then in the outro, the lead melody comes back in, but this time with the new chord progression. So it sounds like this releasing your energy kind of a vibe. And to me that sounds like kind of like saying goodbye somehow. That was the feeling I got from that chord progression combined with the lead melody, and I think it was a good way to end the song, because it kind of feels like you're saying goodbye to the song, and it brings like this sense of closure to the journey. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this dive inside the 2 Down project, and I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.